Many of you asked for it, and here it is, a 2015-2016 season preview for your Toronto Maple Leafs. Who's excited? Now, I feel like any good season preview for the Toronto Maple Leafs should start with these two words. Okay, look. How many seconds into this video are we? It doesn't matter. They're gonna be bad. Just stop. You're just making it harder on yourself. They're going to be bad. Yeah, but Babcock, they're going to be bad. If they finish somewhere between, let's say, 28th and 25th, that's about what I expect. Somewhere between 24th and 22nd, I would say pleasantly surprised. And above 20th, Mike Babcock deserves to win the Jack Adams. And before I get into the players, we need to hammer something out right now. Not this kind of hammered, that comes later. I mean this! One slipping, that's a new camera. Anyway, the Leafs are gonna be bad. So what? Hey, another year, another bad Leafs season. Hey, what do you expect? Who cares about the Leafs? We got the Blue Jays, huh? Let's go! If you don't eat your meat, you can't have any pudding! Look, we can all be happy for the Jays very shortly, but let's not forget something very important. You asked for this! I asked for this! We all asked for this! We begged for it! We wanted the Leafs to rebuild, and here they are rebuilding. We wanted the Leafs to get a high draft pick, they did. They got the fourth one, they got Mitch Marner. I know you wanted Connor McDavid, but so what? You don't get everything you want in this life. Especially if you're a Leafs fan. The Leafs always rush and ruin their prospects. Too bad! Connor Brown, William Nylander, you're all going down to the minors. Just for this season, the Toronto Marlies should be nicknamed the bomb shelter. Because if you get sent there, it's for your own protection. So you wanted a rebuild? Here it is. You got it, and this is what year one looks like. Not good. But, then again, you never know. Anyway, let's look at individual players. Here's the Leafs starting cast. I'm not going to go through lines 1 to 4 because they're basically interchangeable. I look at the Leafs 4 lines, and I would say the positive there is there really are no weaknesses, sort of. No. What I mean by that is there's no dead weight, as in dudes who straight up should not be in the NHL. They cannot play. Unless I'm mistaken, everyone in this Leafs lineup, top to bottom, belongs in the National Hockey League. However, Phil Kessel belongs in the National Hockey League, and so does Brad Boys. That doesn't mean I want one as much as the other. Whether it's JVR Kadri Parento, JVR Kadri Boys, JVR Bozak Boys, JVR Bozak Parento, that's not a good first line. Can you imagine? Hey Naz, congratulations! After all this time, you're finally our #1 center. Thanks guys, right after you trade Phil, that's swell! But I expect Nazem Kadri to have an excellent season. 1, he's probably going to be given the first line role. 2, Mike Babcock had Datsuk and he turned out okay. And 3, Naz really has no other choice. He's on a 1-year deal at $4.1 mil. It's a rebuilding team. When we think of players who are going to be gone at the trade deadline, we think of like a Michael Grabner, a P.A. Parento, maybe even a Brad Boys. Throw Nazem Kadri in there too, guys. He's on a 1-year deal. Unless he proves, hey, we should probably keep this guy. And same with a guy like JVR, because even though he's got some time left on his contract, that's an affordable contract for his skill set. And he's probably the most offensively gifted player on this team now. And if Joffrey Lupul wants out of here, he's only got one option. Play. Because no one's going to trade for you at that amount of money if you stink. Same goes for Tyler Bozak, and maybe he can flourish in a role where he has a little less responsibility. Look at some of the new guys up front. Parento, Grabner, Matthias, Boys. Those are all guys playing for money and probably to win. I mean, Parento's starting to get up there, and he showed in the preseason that there's flashes still. Could be a good power play option. And Brad Boys, if he scores between 35 and 40 points like he did last season, at $700 grand, you know how affordable that's going to be at the trade deadline? Someone's gonna scoop him up. Grabner, not as affordable, but fast as hell. And then you got a guy like Matthias, who's a little younger and a local boy. Maybe you keep him. Because the whole thing about rebuilding is the second part of the word is building. So while draft picks and prospects are excellent, you can't just get rid of everybody. It'd be nice to keep some nice players along the way. Like if Nick Spalling comes out and is an amazing 4th line center, why not? And then 2 returning familiar faces, Leo Komarov and Daniel Winnick. Komarov I have high hopes for because he started last season fantastically and then he got injured on a hit by Alex Ovechkin of all players. He wasn't really the same, but now he's had some time to recover. Now Komarov was probably scoring at a pace that was a little higher than we should expect out of him, but if he can get closer to that level than he, end of the season, the whole team was down there, that'd be great. And then you got Daniel Winnick, who, holy smokes, if they trade Dion Phaneuf mid-season or something, make this guy the captain. Because so many players on this team are here for 1-year deals for one reason, to leave, prove themselves, and go on to greener pastures. Winnick left and chose to come back. I know the Leafs offered him 2 years, and who knows what other teams were offering, but holy smokes, he came back after after last year? He's a greater hero to Toronto than Drake and Norm Kelly combined. Now the defense is where it gets interesting. Very interesting. Because Babcock actively wanted Dion Phaneuf when he was in Detroit, so I wonder how he's going to affect him there. But you really look at Detroit on defense, and you look at guys like Morgan Riley now and Jake Gardiner now. Babcock didn't have weapons like that in Detroit. And it looks like newcomers Marincin and Hunwick are probably going to stick, but again, we'll see. And Scott Harrington may earn himself an opening night spot as well. Thank you, Kessel. But you know what all 6 of those defenders have in common? They all shoot left-handed. And I remember this specifically from HBO 24/7, Leafs against the Red Wings. Babcock was going nuts because all 6 of his defensemen on his injury-depleted team were left-handed shots. And as I look at some of the guys on the Marlies, Renat Valiev, Stuart Percy, Victor Louvre, Andrew Campbell, TJ Brennan, all left-handed shots on defense. So your only 3 right-handed options on D are Roman Polak, who has looked bad, Petter Granberg, who is injured, and Stefan Robida, who has looked bad and is injured. Oh, but you gotta love that waiver wire, because the Vancouver Canucks just, here you go, gave the Leafs Frankie Corrado on waivers. Hometown boy, right-handed shot on defense, and based on most of the Canucks fans that I'm reading on Twitter, they're kind of upset they lost him. Now I know this is not going to make or break the team. This is not going to make the Leafs amazing, but it's good. Now, as a result, the Leafs had to put Richard Panik on waivers, which means they might lose him. But how did the Leafs get Panik? Waivers. Now, I'm a big fan of Richard Panik. He's young, he can put the puck in the net, he's physical, he's exactly what you want in a bottom 6 role on a rebuilding team. But they needed a right-handed defenseman. If the Leafs lose Panik, and that's only an if at this point, they basically trade Panik for Corrado, and that's okay. And if the Leafs don't lose Panik, then they can send him down to the Marlies, and holy smokes, the Marlies may legitimately be better than the Leafs. Nylander, Brown, Kapanen, and oh, by the way, here's Richard Panik, who is almost a point-a-game scorer in the AHL like 2 years ago. The goalies are interesting. Let me get something out of the way right quick. You know I love James Reimer, right? And you know that James Reimer's numbers in the preseason were much better than Jonathan Bernier's, right? And you know that Jonathan Bernier is going to be starting the first 2 games of this season for the Leafs, right? Well, here's how I feel about that decision. Good call. Dude, Bernier has been the Leafs starter for 2 years. I'm not sure what you expected. Babcock says he wants someone to be the guy. Why, right off the hop as the new coach of the team, would you make the guy the former guy? See if it's the current guy first, and then if he falters, then go to the former guy. And worst comes to worst, Reimer and Bernier, that's still a pretty decent tandem. Methinks goaltending is not the Leafs' Achilles heel, it's other stuff. As in everything else. So on a positive note, let's end with breakout players. Like I said before, I expect Kadri to have a banger of a season. I really think Jake Gardiner is going to be able to skate around and be the great offensive defender we know he can be. I think Phaneuf will improve on last season because how can't he? And I really think this year Riley begins to emerge into the elite offensive defenseman we know he can be. Beyond that, look at the Leafs roster. Who's really going to disappoint you? You can't say Parenteau or Winnick or Matthias or Boys because they're barely making anything. Parenteau got less than 50 points. Well, who told you he was going to get more than that? Put it this way, we're starting the season here. And I'm willing to bet your expectations for most players are here. The only place they can go is up. And I know they finished 4th last, which means there's still 3 more lasts, but let's hope they don't do that. And I just realized looking at the depth chart, I forgot to mention Peter Holland. I think he'll have a pretty good season too. Look, right now the Leafs are the Dark Knight. And Mike Babcock is the Joker. And instead of having a mouth like this, it's like this. And right now he's looking at the roster and he snaps a pool cue on his knee, throws the 2 broken pieces into the middle of the circle and goes, we're gonna have tryouts. Or, we're gonna have workouts and, we're gonna try it out. I'm still working on it. He's got like a 14-year contract, right? I'll get it. So that is your Leafs season preview. What do you think? Am I too hard on the team? Or is this last fan way too optimistic about his joke of a team? So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends and grab a bag, buckle up, and all aboard the Barfmobile.